feeling to talk about Independence Day celebration in Nigeria. In a few days' time now will be 59 years, am I right? Independence celebration. If I may ask you, what have changed positively within this period? If you compare Nigeria 50 years ago and today, you will see a retrogression. And then what independence are you celebrating? Are we not celebrating what we cannot keep? Therefore, I should think that rather than go into large-scale celebration, we should have a sober reflection. There is nothing to celebrate. There's a lot to think about. I see neocolonialism on the highways of Nigeria with a high speed. I don't even know whether our road safety can really caution the neocolonialism heading to Nigeria now. So are we celebrating independence when we are now buying dependency, when we are buying neocolonialism in all perspectives? So I think that we should rethink very, very, very fast. I think that we should go back to the drawing board and bring out a pragmatic approach to assert our independence. I think that we should do certain things that will make us giant indeed, and not things that will make us dependent on other nations. We are 59 today. In the 1950s and 60s, we were par with China, Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia were under us. We were rated higher than these other countries. But when you mention Nigeria, Japan, China, at 50 years ago, today we are cap in hand going to these nations that we are par with. And you say, we're independent? Independence does not mean rule yourself. It means having financial, political, well-being of the citizens. That makes you independent. We had a way for medical tourism. We're begging for one loans or the other. We're begging for one for nationalization or the other. So we are largely independent. So we should think and know what to do. So we shouldn't just celebrate and keep marching past and all whatnot. And so there's nothing to march around. We should do a sober reflection and think, what do we do to be real independent? If you say you're independent, what does it mean? That you are in control of yourself. But with a leaking pocket, you can't be independent. I'm saying that we are confused in the doing. We're not just doing enough. We are confused in the doing. We must come out with a clear-cut guideline, policy, and what we want, not trial by error. We should sit down and decide what we want and what purpose. We should prioritize our needs, our wants, and move towards that. No country can be an island. You must collaborate with others. You must sit down and look at what you do. We must have a critical analysis of what we do. America will tell you in the years so, this is the balance sheet of the trade. What's our own balance sheet? Is our trade with other countries favorable? What's the balance trade? Are we buying more than we sell? Are we buying more than we consume? Are we getting what from each other country that we give them? You must be able to counterbalance it. If you get more than you give, are you independent? Are you doing the needful? That's what I'm saying. Neocolonialism on the highways approaching Nigeria. They've crossed the border. We must be able to stop them, to wait them now. Because we are getting more than we can give. An agreement, a trade should balance. The deficit is so huge on the Nigerian side. One of the Asian tigers reminded us that our debt profile is so much, so we should be careful. So we're not just not doing enough. In the half we are doing with a confused half, we're not. So we must pick up and begin to do the very, very needful now. We have a planning sector. How are they planning? The Ministry of Planning and whatever should be able to do that. Look at our budget. Are we going to call that a realistic budget? If we budget 7 trillion, we implement 4 or 5, then we should be able to do a realistic budget that will face our needs, that will face the realities of time, that will focus on the core area. We don't budget for the sake of budgeting. We should budget for the sake of our need, something that is doable, practicable. Otherwise, it will be rhetorics. Yes, we've entered into several agreements with a lot of other countries, some US, UK, China to be specific. Those contractual agreements for them to provide us infrastructures, do they really favor us? I filed a motion in the House that we should review all the contractual agreements we entered with the Chinese firms, with some other Asian tigers and all whatnot. We should also be careful how we import the so-called technology and transfer and all whatnot. Today, can the immigration tell us the number of Chinese that are residing here legally? Go to Yaba, go to Dumota, go to all over Lagos. You see a lot of Chinese doing what? Go to Ondo, you see Chinese. You see other people picking cocoa in the farms. Do we have the data? Now, can they tell us statistically the number of foreign firms set up in Nigeria and what they do? We do not have. Can they tell us the expatriates here? So the place is overflooded. So we are buying dependency by relying so much on them. That's what I'm saying. So if you watch out now, we've entered a lot of contractual agreements with them and they're lopsided. In where can you sign an agreement whereby the person will provide you materials, the person will provide you labor, the person will provide you capital, the person will provide you maintenance, and so on. So at the end of the day, you now became a dumping ground and maintenance becomes an issue for you. Then you will lean on them to train you. If you look at most people, the contracts, give you an example. The Abuja International Airport, it was built by Chinese. You all travel. Take a good look at the materials there and then compare it with any other airport abroad. You see that it does not meet the local wing of BA. But yet, they are now either build, operate, and transfer. They're in control. They are building it. And then the huge cost of it. No, my worry is this. They brought the material. They brought the labor. We hear that most of workers there, some workers there, when you jail in China, you serve the sentence in Nigeria. So are we not now running their prisons for them? Are we not subsidizing that? Meanwhile, we have laborers here, idle youths, doing nothing. And then it's not a free money, we're also going to pay back the cost. So the whole thing is dependency we are subscribing to. I mean, we should review them and see that there's the element of survival in it. Above all, I hear that some even companies, Chinese companies that are proscribed, blacklisted by World Bank, as also published by our own central bank, are also working for us. We had an issue with South Africa recently. Can Nigeria tell us South African companies working here and for what purpose? Plenty of them. Not only ShopRite and DSTV and so on. There are a lot of them here. But we need to have the data, the statistics, and what are they doing here? Are we understudying them? Are they of any use to us? We do not have the details. Therefore, I think that our Ministry of Planning, Foreign Affairs, including immigrations and all whatnot, should sit up and tell Nigeria. You see, the problem with us is that we do not study the markets. We need to study the market, find out the data, find out futuristic, what do we need in the next 5 years? How do we bridge the gap? But we are not planning. And failing to plan is planning to fail. That's just the problem we have in Nigeria. So we've not done enough. In the little we are doing it confusedly. We're not doing it with a vision. It's a question of, are we helpless? No. We can turn around Nigeria. And now ask you, what made China thick? What made Singapore thick? What made Malaysia thick? What made Thailand thick? Even Ghana. What are they doing? What have they done that we're not doing? The answer is simple, right. Fall back to agriculture. Use what you have to get what you need. So that's why I said my legislative focus agenda is purely now going to be on agricultural drive, agricultural entrepreneurship. That's the magic one Nigeria can bring and then solve the problem. And I'm able to say, except we introduce revolutionary in agriculture, we'll face revolution. Because hunger cannot define boundary. A hungry man is an angry man. The rich cannot sleep because the poor is awake. The poor cannot sleep because they are hungry. So for us to sleep, we provide food for the poor. They'll eat and sleep, and then the rich can sleep. So if we cannot introduce revolution in agriculture, the agriculture sector, then we'll contend with revolution. Are we not agrarian country? Before the cost of oil, of course, oil cost Nigerian woe. Oil caused our problem because oil came and we put dependency on oil. Because if we had not gotten oil, we had survived on agriculture. Nigeria had remained to a large extent agricultural economy. We are doing granite, palm oil, cocoa, and all whatnot. As we talk today, the best and tallest building in Ibadan was built by cocoa. So what happens today? Ibadan hosted the first television, courtesy of cocoa. Today, foreigners are picking cocoa in Ondo State. Foreigners are picking cocoa all over the West. I'm able to ask you, have you ever done the analysis of the cocoa plantations? They go out and check the cost of chocolate we eat in Nigeria. So we merely produce cocoa, shelf it, dry it, send it out. Then they turn it into millions of dollars. We'll go out there, we'll shop chocolate and bring back to Nigeria. We lose money. So until we venture into agricultural sector pragmatically, we can't do nothing. How can we say we want to diversify economy when we are not thinking that way? We go to India. The total number of tractors in New Delhi is bigger than all the tractors in Nigeria. The total number of tractors in states of India or Malaysia is bigger than all the tractors we have here. So we must have a framework on agriculture. We must have a clear-cut policy to say we are diversifying, we are launching into agriculture. Agriculture can produce 5 million jobs for the youth if we are sincere. Because it is something, if you study how to do it, what others did, we can do. It's a whole chain. It's an entrepreneurship thing. So we should even introduce agricultural teachings in our secondary school curriculum, not to talk of what does not make sense in our curriculum, to put things that will not help us. We should think fast. Because if you look at what the Asian tigers did, they did nothing different from what we are saying. Thailand can give you 1 shipload of rice if you want it now. But we cannot in Nigeria. When we tried the rice experience in Nigeria, they did not yield, and I give government kudos for that. It yielded. Today we're having rice mill here and there and so on because of that. So we should launch into agriculture meaningfully. And that's the only way to go. There's no other way. We tried to repeal a law that banned exportation of food. You see, that law came into existence because they wanted to ensure food security. And I keep telling them, yes, but that law is now obsolete because you cannot stop me from exporting food if I'm a farmer. I also want to earn dollar, but what you can do is to regulate it. That's why you need the Commodity Exchange Commission. You can tell somebody, say, look, okay, you want to earn dollar, you want to export yam, for every 10 tubers you produce, we'll allow you to export 2. Then if I want to export, I'll increase my production, so I can also export 2. But today, we smuggle yam into Ghana, and then Ghana will take to UK, and Ghana will end the foreign exchange, and then we're doing nothing. So we say repeal that law and allow people to export. In Thailand, they allow you to export their rice, but for you to export rice, you must have enough production and then export. They'll tell the percentage. Just like the central bank is now saying, for you to deposit 500,000, you pay some charges. Or for you to draw excess cash of 500,000, you pay 2%. So also you can say, if you manufacture or produce so-so yam, you export so-so. We must be our thinking cap. So agriculture is the way to go to. There's no other way. That's how these countries did it. So we must be able to do agriculture. And then, let me use this opportunity to talk about steel. How can we talk about development and we're talking with the steel sector? 8th Assembly forced federal government to revive Ajakuta. If they are serious, will they play with that? You cannot develop without steel. You cannot even do mechanized agriculture without steel. You can't build a house without steel. You can't do a vehicle without steel. You can't do anything without steel. If you know the amount of steel we import in Nigeria, it's enough to run our budget. Yet, we have steel materials and resources wasting. The Indians came here and cutted a lot away under fake agreements again, under fake privatization. So who are those drawing these agreements? Are they enemies of Nigeria? They are. You don't do agreement that will not benefit your people. How can you open your eyes and write an agreement where people will come to revive a factory, but yet they take the raw materials away? That's what we witness. Export of the iron ore all through. Look at what brought about the 9.6 billion debt we're talking about now. We saw no infrastructure, we saw no company, we saw no agreement. It was not fully consulted. Consultation was not there. Before you could do, we say $9.6 billion. How much is our budget? Can't you see negligence in everything we do? That's also we're not doing, not just only that, we're confused in it. So I make bold to challenge the government that if they are real, if they are sincere, we should launch into agriculture and steel. We should cause a revolution in the agriculture and steel sector. Otherwise, face revolution. We shouldn't be scared. We should do things that will do that. I can't see any other way. That's how we can grant our independence.
But of course, this cannot be achieved without the synergy between the three arms of government. But are you seeing the synergy required from both, especially legislature and executive in this regard?
Of course, there should be synergy. We must work together. Our speaker, Femi says, Bajamila says, joint tax to develop the nation. I agree with him. Legislatively, we have said, do this deal. For reasons of that, it was not signed. Legislatively, we are saying, develop agriculture. I'll continue to shout. Legislatively, we'll go to the budget. Increase it, they give you an envelope. And I'm saying now, if the speaker is also serious, we should tear the agricultural envelope in budgeting this time and expound it. And I challenge government to, within some days, come out with a framework agriculturally that they will pass on to state. The major problem again in Nigeria is that you are saying you are independent, you want to celebrate. We are federal government practicing unitary government. There is no federalism. There is no federalism until we practice true federalism and fiscal federalism. We can't be dependent. We remain to be dependent on people. Therefore, federal government should come out with a clear-cut policy on agriculture, which states will adopt. I make bold. This will annoy civil servants. Half of the civil servants are idle. They have no work. They draw salary. Go to local government. They have no work. They are being paid. So you can still pay them that as social benefit and tax them to produce. I agree. I share social benefit. Pay. Afterwards, the minimum with 30,000 naira is small. So are we going to pay it by taxing people? No. It's a faulty step by increasing tax. Look, let me tell you, taxation should be used to discourage consumption of certain goods that are of high profile. Taxation, if properly used, will cause social engineering in the economy. Ghana reduced taxes on spare parts, on average consumptions, on some importations, knowing that that is what you need to re-engineer the economy. Now we're increasing the taxes, discouraging those things. So how will you keep your factories working? Therefore, place a tax on like champagne, place tax on cigarettes, place taxes on high vehicles. That is the only way you can do it. But not when you tax what the poor man uses. Not when you increase the VAT. So that if you have a supermarket, you retail, you pay VAT on that, you will discourage people from buying. But there are certain things you reduce. You should be able to categorize the luxury and non-luxury. In taxation, you don't do a general policy. You discourage buying and selling. You discourage manufacturing. You should look at the critical sectors where you will downplay and say, encourage them. You can even give tax holidays, depending on what they do. Here, we'll give tax holidays for the luxury things, which is counterproductive. So we must, I thank God to Buhari that he acknowledged that the other economic team failed. There's no need to keep a bad team. He has chosen a new team. Let us hope that the new team, now, of course, he changed it because they didn't do well. There's nothing to hide about it. He acknowledged that they caused Nigeria economic woes by bringing bad economic policies that couldn't work, including our fiscal policies. He acknowledged that. And let's hope that the new team, Salute, who has headed the CBN before, and the sound economists that he assembled, will produce a pragmatic economic policy. But I want to ask, is another thing for them to advise? Will they hear? Why didn't he make the ministers? So they'll head several portfolios. So they'll be able to, if you're implementing an idea you don't know how to drive, you can't drive it well. Therefore, he should. I thank him for giving us now a pragmatic economic team. And I pray he gives them the opportunity to say their mind. They give them the opportunity to practicalize what they know. Therefore, the House of Reps per se, I believe that will go on. I want to believe that if Femi is realistic in enjoying tax, he will incorporate the best brains in the House to move forward. We must guide the executives to produce a good governance through good legislation. There won't be, I must admit, total independence. There must be corporations. But that corporation shouldn't be subservient. It shouldn't be. The last leadership emerged in a manner that they fought till almost the end of it. Even when they tried to cooperate and show goodwill, there was total rejection on what they were doing. Now that the anointed had been chosen, let's see, yes, now that the anointed had been chosen, let's hope there will be a difference in it. We want to collaborate, we want to do the needful in legislations so that we can move Nigeria forward. The paramount thing, whether you cooperate or don't cooperate, is that the masses there are fed. The welfare of the people. Therefore, I should think that President Buhari should stoop to conquer. He should listen very, very well. Thank God he won't be distracted again on another tenure or second or whatever. He's there now, 4 years. So he should give the teeming population what to eat. Otherwise, a hungry man is an angry man. Be you Hausa, be you Yoruba, be you Igbo, be you Ijaw. Once you are hungry, you are angry. And once you are angry, you can't control your thoughts. Therefore, we should feed the nation. Let me also tell you, before I cut off, in the military era, we used agricultural policy called Operation Feed the Nation. It worked. School to land, stuff like that. What is the policy now? Tell me a clear-cut focus. Just I will hope on oil to buy things. Iraq got born, we're happy, jumping up that Nigeria will get more money. We're not thinking elsewhere, only oil. Should the oil dry? Now that they're producing vehicles that are electrically driven, are we going to drink the oil? Can't we begin to think that in the next 10 years, there'll be changing things? So, not planning to change is planning to fail. So we must plan now. We must come out with a clear-cut agenda. We must force the states to do things that will make them stand. Not only every year you do FAC and give them money, unitary system, but we'll answer federal government. That if you true physical federalism, it's a tough another day. Until have true physical federalism, we are not heading anywhere. We'll be running around the circle, saying we're independent. No, we are suffering neocolonialism. Check our GDP. Check the capital flight. Check who is dominating. Check what's happening. So if you are not careful, my final word for Nigeria is check neocolonialism now before it gets entrenched. Check neocolonialism now of the Asian tigers, the fake tigers, before it gets too late. Making us not knowing whether we are in opposition or we're in majority government now. The people in the House is confused, not knowing whether we're doing opposition or we're doing majority. But I think opposition should be done creditably well. Opposition should be done constructively. Because without opposition, you can't put the ruling party to stand. Opposition should not be used to throw spanner into the works. No, I don't believe that. Opposition should be used to progress. I believe they join hand. You see, it takes a watchdog to keep the thief away. So if the opposition knows that, if the majority party knows that opposition is watching, then they will do the right. So I don't believe that opposition should spoil things when it's going on. So I've had calls to market proposals brought by majority party because they are geared towards benefiting the masses. And I'll have calls to say, no, this is not going to be right. For example, when the issue of the monetary policy came up, we were confronted one morning by high-rising. I said, come on, gentlemen, let's hear the CBN out. Give them 3 legislative days. Let's hear them out. So don't eat our word. This has been with us. They just got up now and say, let's hear them 3 legislative days. They say, no, instantly. I hear CBN has convinced them why the thing must go on. So have we not eaten our word? If we had allowed 3 days to hear them, you will come out better informed. They are saying they are targeting some class of persons. And then when you pay 500,000 naira only, they don't charge you. If you pay more than 500,000, you pay for the excess charge. If you pay in 500,000, you're free. If you draw 500,000, you're free. But if you do 520, you pay tax on that 20. They are trying to discourage cash. Because of this kidnapping, there are benefits of cashless economy. There is benefit actually. But my advice is that don't sell a product you can't market. You must be sure of good POS in the neighborhood, and then you must exclude some people who are doing retail outfit. Are you saying now somebody who sells petrol station in the village, Okadama will come with POS to buy? It's not possible. He'll give you cash. And the aggregate cash collected may be over and above 500. So you must show evidence of what you're doing in that name to have some exemption in it. Also in some localities. But in Abuja, I have no reason not to pay it. It may not be a popular term, but I say it bold. In Abuja, you may not have reason not to pay it. So that's the advantage. So we must not be in a hurry to do issues, but we must calculatively take a decision. It's only then they will respect the House resolution.